ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والذي جعل المسلمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Did you think this was going to be in English? Alhamdulillah. My name is Yusuf. Can you say Yusuf? You got it right the first time. That's amazing. You know, my wife still has trouble with it. She keeps saying useless. But it could be a speech impediment. I'm not really sure about all of that. The one thing, though, we just heard from Baba Ali. How many of you love Baba Ali? I want to hear you. Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! No, what? That's the morning, right? I always love to listen to him tell about his travels. How many of you done any traveling recently? Been up and go to the airports and go through the security and then be randomly selected? How many have been randomly selected, right? Yeah. Actually, our brother was explaining that to us today. He said that somebody at the airport must know me, and his name is Random Lee. Because every time we go through, it's Random Lee. All right, well, that's, we have that experience as Muslims today, but there are some other experiences that we have that are maybe not so funny. When people judge us by looking at our clothes or looking at our beards or something like that, then of course that's not really fair, is it? One of the funny things about it we see is that a lot of the American non-Muslims are growing beards these days. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed something else? I'm just commenting about it. But one of the things Muslim men, are never supposed to show their knees, right? We don't. So we wear these long pants. They come right below the knees. They're not all the way down, but they're not all the way up. They're kind of, you know. Have you seen it? Have you noticed how many non-Muslim men are wearing the same kind of pants today? I was like, whoa. They got beards. They got the long, you know. One of my even in the elevator, you know, you can't get away from me. And I said to him, you know, you're wearing the pants like we wear. You have the beard already. Just need shahada. You can be a Muslim. He's like, whoa, what's that? Kind of scary, you know. And then, how many of you have seen some of the pictures on the internet? Maybe you've seen it on Facebook or YouTube. They had pictures of women of the past. And I'm not talking just about you, all the pictures of Maryam, the mother of Jesus, alayhi salam. We find that she's always depicted with the hijab, right? You see that? But I'm talking also, have you noticed some other pictures? The queen, I think it was the queen of Sweden or Denmark, about 100 years ago, had perfect hijab, but she had a big cross right here. Did you see that? So many of the pictures we look at, and then we begin to realize that the women of dignity and honor, those women who were really close to their religion, not just the nuns, but a lot of women used to wear the hijab. Used to cover their beauty and restrict people they don't know from being able to look at their beauty. Today, it looks like we're seeing more and more women being confused about the difference between women's rights and women's exploitation. A lot of women are being exploited, and they're being told, if you want to be accepted, you have to show us more of your body. The more of your body you show, the more you're going to be accepted. I believe that. But as what? Accepted as what? That's the problem. There are a lot of people being fooled by this trend toward that right now. And in fact, men are being convinced also. I recall some years ago when I was down in Mississippi, they had asked me to speak, and afterwards they want me to answer some questions. By the way, don't ever ask questions to somebody that doesn't really have a degree in Islam. You know what I'm saying? Because they give nutty answers like I do. Really, seriously. But they asked me, what about the beard? What about the beard, Chef? Tell us about the beard. Does a man have to wear, no, the question on the paper said, does a Muslim have to have a beard? And I said, no. No, not all of them. Not all Muslims need a beard. You know why? Muslims don't all need a beard. Women don't need it, do they? I mean, wouldn't seriously, Chef, wouldn't that hurt your feelings to know that your sister had a beard longer than yours? I mean, that's called beard envy, right? Or you'd be like, oh man. So sisters, keep shaving it off, okay? But also, another question comes, do Muslims have to grow the beard? Do Muslims have to grow the beard? And I said, absolutely not. And one brother even asked me, he said, make dua for me that I will grow my beard. I said, I can't do that. And he said, why? Why can't you? I said, because that's shirk. He said, what? You know, making partners with Allah. No God beside God, right? He said, like, what are you talking about? Just make dua, I'll grow my beard. I said, no, I can't do that. Why? It's shirk. Partners with Allah. How? He said, okay, you can't grow your beard. Allah does it. I'll make dua to Allah that He'll grow your beard. And I'll also make dua that you'll quit cutting it off after He grows it. Make sense? Yeah, that's a real, look, common sense though. This is just common sense. You don't have to be big sheikh, alim. Just common sense. Who grows the beard? Allah. We were not told by our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to grow a beard. Do you know that? The hadith doesn't say that. It says leave it alone. That's what the hadith says. What about some of our brothers from China? You know anybody from China? You ever see any of our brothers? Hussein Yi on Guidance TV? See how I snuck a commercial in there? Yeah, you knew it was coming, right? Guidance TV. See, I said it again. All right. But you see him, he has just a few strings right there, right? He can't grow any more than that. That's from Allah. We just make dua that He'll quit cutting it off. And that's what we do. Simple as that. So some people won't ever get a beard. Big deal. Well, back to Mississippi. Here we are. I'm sitting there with the questions. These are mostly doctors, by the way. The question is saying, do Muslims have to grow the beard? Okay. Then after I give all those answers that you just heard, one of the brothers shouts out from the crowd, yeah, but my wife, she likes me to be smooth face. And before I could stop my big Texas mouth, I heard myself say, you gotta wonder about a woman wants her husband to look like another woman. You know, they never invited me back to that part of the city. Yeah, it's funny now. But when you're trying to hitchhike out of Mississippi, it's not so funny. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a lot of me. I really enjoyed the opportunity to be with the children just now. We had a great time over there with them. And I heard Baba Ali telling some jokes over there for kids. And I couldn't get it. I had to ask the children to explain it to me. But then I tried to tell them a joke, and then somebody had to explain it to them. So I don't know how we're doing on the funny stuff. But I did hear something kind of cute, and I'll share it with you. And this, I got it in any of you heard of John Fontaine? He's in the UK. When I was traveling with him, we would come in. Usually, you know, Muslims are late. You know that, right? Have you ever gone to a Muslim wedding? It says 8 o'clock. Are you really going to go at 8 o'clock? If you go at 8 o'clock, you'll be the only one there. You can stand at the door, it's locked, am I right? And if you go at 9 o'clock, okay, somebody will be there, they're bringing in some stuff, looking at you like, what are you doing here? If you get there by 10 o'clock, it's like, welcome, salam, is that right? So normal. If we get there 30 minutes late, I tell them I'm 30 minutes early, actually, according to Islam, or at least according to Muslims. But we should be on time. Unfortunately, we were late one time, and John Fontaine took the microphone and he said, well, the sheikh's getting ready, let me tell you what happened. Oh, we were, it was really late. But he's telling them a story to keep them entertained. He tells the people that on the way over, we saw a guy hitchhiking. We thought maybe we had to give him a ride, give him a ride. He's got this big bag, you know, let's pull over and we can give him some dawah on the way. Get in the car. Tell him, get in the car. The guy got in the car. So, brother said, I asked him, what you got in the bag? Mind your own business. Okay. Go a little bit further, where are you going? Mind your own business. Oh. What's your name? Mind your own business. Oh man, he's got this big bag. You know? And all of a sudden behind us, he said, there's a police car. Woo, 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 woo. We pulled over. And the police car stopped right behind us. As soon as it stopped, the back door blew open and the brother came running out of there. He left the bag and he ran like crazy out into the field and the police chased him and they grabbed him and took him to jail. Zoom, gone. Mind your own business. Thank you for finally asking. What was in the bag? Okay. Anyway, the reason we're all gathered here today is something very special, and the occasion is really not to be taken lightheartedly. We do enjoy it though, and that's a graduation ceremony for our children and our youth, and even elders who have been working hard, diligently memorizing, studying, and learning the meanings of the Quran. And so this is really our subject that we wanted to talk about. How important is the Quran today, right now? At the time of Revelation, it was very big because it came in an area of the world that people were vastly ignorant of real revelation. There was a lot of superstition, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of chauvinistic hierarchy. I wanted to use two big words together. How did that sound? Good? Yeah. I'm not sure what it means. But anyway, the guys, let's put it like this. The guys were controlling the girls. Big time. Bad way. Got that? Yeah, it was really bad. To the extent that they had lowered the status of women to be a disgrace if you had a child that was born a female. It was a disgrace. And the disgrace was so big that these men living in the desert, living in these tents, the nomads traveling around, you know what I'm talking about. They're called Bedouin. Bedouin. They would take a newborn baby girl to the desert and bury her alive and leave her to die. Is that true or false? That's true. That's true. I think there needed to be some room for reformation. What do you think? Yeah, and we're seeing some of this stuff coming up again today, strangely enough. The way that people are treating women, treating foreigners. And so this maybe is a lesson for us, and let's see what happened. The people of that time believed in a lot of superstitions. They believed in good luck and bad luck. They believed in looking at the stars to figure out what's going to happen next. They thought they could predict the weather. They thought that they could tell people how to get good luck, how to have things in this life. But they were very, very grossly mistaken. Another thing they had was this tribal mentality that we're together as a tribe. So if our tribe is going to do something, you got to be with us. You're either with us or you're with the terrorists. Oh no, that was a different president. Never mind. Excuse me. Got off my subject. Got off of that. You know. Yeah, you're either with us or you're against us. And that was the mentality. So when the revelation came, what kind of person do you think it came to? Of course, you're Muslim, you already know. There was a real odd person amongst those people of that time. The desert Arabs had a lot of their own culture, a lot of their own ways. But they observed this one individual, this man, from the time he was born and he was growing up, had never ever told a lie. In fact, he wound up getting a nickname from everybody around him called the truthful. He was called the truthful, the literal spirit of truth itself. They believed in him no matter what he said because he never ever lied. He didn't play with the truth either, like you tell half the truth or twist it around and tell, parts. If he said it, you knew that's what he meant. The another thing about him was, if you gave him any kind of a trust, he would keep the trust. Even when the tribes were going to fight with each other, kill each other, both tribes would give him their goodies. And then when the fight is over, everybody would be able to get their stuff back. Even if they were fighting his tribe. Is that right? Yeah. And for this, he was called the trustworthy. Now I'm using English, translating it to English. So he's the trustworthy, he's the truthful. In addition to that, he never, ever drank alcohol. Now, all of the people there drank alcohol. Everybody did, because it was more prevalent than water out there in the desert, and it was easy to get to, and plus, they like to get high. They drink alcohol. Some of them were alcoholics. He never touched it. He also never touched crack cocaine because they didn't have it yet. But we know that he wouldn't have. So he was a very pure person in a lot of ways. He was also very clean, a very clean person. Washed himself, took care of himself. And for a desert dweller, that was kind of strange, This was a clean, pure person. In addition to all of this, he never even kissed a girl other than his own mom. Did you know that? Never. He didn't even get married till he was like, 25? And when he got married, he was a virgin. This is like today, they make movies. They actually have movies making fun of men who are virgins at the age of 18, 19, or 20 years old. It's like a joke. Wow, look at this guy. He's got something wrong with him. Because they want to wait for this very special experience with only their wife. And the women the same way. He was invited to marriage. He had a marriage proposal come to him from a woman who had been widowed 2 times. She had 2 husbands. One died, then she got another husband, and he died. And she wanted to marry this man. And he accepted. Because he liked her style, her way. She was a very good, clean, nice lady. And she had good qualities and good sense. He accepted. Everybody here, I think you know who we're talking about, right? Yes. Who we're talking about? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him. Now this was well known and mentioned by people before prophethood, during his prophethood, and even after he passed away, by those who followed him, and those who didn't follow him still said the same thing. Even the ones who were against Islam, they would say, well, we have to tell this because, you'll find that I can't lie and get caught in a lie. Yes, we always said he was a truthful person. No, he never drank alcohol. Look, belligerently, but still they would admit the truth, the fact of who this man really was. Did he ever claim to be God? No, as a matter of fact, he said the opposite. He said, no man is going to be a God. Did he ever claim to be a son of a God? Did he ever claim to have any kind of divinity, that he had a direct connect, that him and God are working things out together like partners with God? No. Again, he's telling us that whoever does such a thing as this is going to be rejected by Almighty God. Is that right? And we find this, now we'll come to the Quran, and that's really our subject. We find this in the Quran in a chapter called the Women. There's a chapter of the Quran, a very beautiful chapter, called the Women. Chapter 4 of the Quran, verse 48. The translation of the meaning says that God does not forgive blasphemy. Blasphemy is a literal translation of shirk. The Arabic word shirk, blasphemy. This is to break the biggest commandment. The biggest commandment is thou shalt not have any other gods beside God. Whoever does that, according to biblical scholars, this is blasphemy. And it is the unforgivable sin, making partners with God. And that's exactly what it says in the Quran. So this is the same exact religion coming all the way back to the time of Abraham and Moses and David and Suleiman and John the Baptist and Jesus the Christ. All of them saying the exact same thing. No God to worship except God. Now, I think many of you in here know enough Arabic to tell me, how many are not Arabs? Raise your hand. Not Arabs. You're not an Arab. Raise your hand. Okay? So there's an expression in the Arabic language that means there's no God beside God. What is that? Real loud. All together. La ilaha illallah. Every Muslim knows that, don't they? In the Arabic language. Is that the first and foremost commandment in Islam? Absolutely. There's no commandment before that. La ilaha illallah. We all know that except that. Once we have that, then everything else will work. If you don't have that, you'll never really understand the Quran or the Bible or the Psalms or the New Testament. You'll never understand. You'll be swimming in darkness with no direction. You'll be in a boat with no rudder. You'll be on top of a mountain, but it's nighttime and you don't know which way to go. Because that is the key to understanding. Never ever have any partners beside God. Get that first, then no matter what people tell you after that, you go, no, doesn't work. Doesn't work. And this is what the Quran is telling us from the very beginning. In fact, amongst the Jewish religion, there are those scholars, the rabbis, have told me that they never pronounce the word God or the name of God in any language. Did you know that? If you ask, seriously, if you ask a rabbi to write it, he has to write something down. He'll write G-D. He will not put the O in it. You got to figure out he meant God. Did you know that? Yeah? As a fact. How many of you knew that? Yeah? I'm finding that a lot of our sisters have more knowledge about this than we do. Oops. Oops. Come on, guys. Well, it is a fact. Now, what does the Quran in English say? I'm going to go to the English, of course. At the very beginning, first page, number 1 at the very top, it says in the name. Does it say name? In the name of Allah. That's what it says. Did you know that one of our brothers in Baltimore, Maryland, had been a Christian, became a Jew, and he told me that he saw one of the books that a brother brought with him to a game of some kind, a ball game. And he looked down, the brother got up to go do something, he picked up the book and he looked at it and said, let me see what's inside. What do you think he saw? Bismillah. But translation, it said in the name of God. When the brother came back, he said, hey, what does that mean, in the name of God? He said, well, actually it means in the name of Allah. He said, what are you talking about? Are you telling me you know the name of God? He said, yeah, God's name is Allah. He was shocked. After he did some research, he left that to come to Islam. And now he's working on, he became, by the way, he became a scholar in the Jewish tradition. Now he's studying to become a scholar in Islam. Allahu Akbar. Watch out, guys. He's going to get ahead of us. But the point is, and we're making a clear point here, is a lot of people don't know we know what God's real name is. We don't need to give him a substitute name. As a matter of fact, that was an argument some people tried to give me when I was a brand new Muslim. And so, of course, we have scholars with us, alhamdulillah, that we can ask, come up to the stage and talk for us. And one of the things we found out right away is that all of the Bibles in the Arabic language Page 1, Genesis, book of Genesis. Everywhere that you see God in English, in Arabic, it says Allah. Alif, Lam, Lam, Ha. Allah. Now, Genesis, page 1, 17 times. On the very beginning. How could you deny it after you saw that? But for the benefit of those who don't know and don't have any way to check it out, I'll just give you a freebie. You can go to any hotel or motel in the United States practically and go right beside the bed. There's a stand there, it has a light on it. Pull the drawer open, okay? No, don't look for the yellow pages. Somebody already got it. But the Bible is still there. And when you open it up, the Gideon Society, who published that, have also done 27 translations. And one of the translations is Arabic language. So turn a couple of pages. I think it's 7 pages. You'll find it. And it says, Afrikaans language, number 1. Number 2, Arabic. Then you look at it. It's quoting John 3:16. In the Arabic, you can see it where it says Allah. For Allah so loved the world, it says it right there. Allah. So if anybody said, well, I'm a Christian, I don't believe in Allah, that you just canceled out your belief. Because that's what Jesus, peace be upon him, called the God that he called upon. Even in the New Testament, in the English, they have a transliteration. You know what transliteration means? It means if I say Bismi, I'm going to write B-I-S-M-E-E, right? Bismi, right? That's transliteration because I took it from Arabic. Basimi. So in transliteration in the New Testament, it says the one on the cross, we don't think it was Jesus on the cross, by the way, but it said the one on the cross is saying, Ilahi, Ilahi, lima sabaqtani. And the translation after that comes, my God, why have you forsaken me? Ilahi. If I say Allahi, Allahi in Arabic, see, his is Aramaic. Ilahi, Ilahi. How far is that from Allahi, Allahi? My Allah, my Allah. My God, I'm going to have it. So even in transliteration, it's still there. If you want to deny it, you go ahead. You can even tell me, hey, it's dark outside. That's your belief. We know a different reality than you do. But you can believe what you want to believe. That's the beauty of living in America. You can believe anything you want. Huh? But if you believe you can walk out of an airplane that's at 30,000 feet and not get hurt, I doubt it. I don't think you'll get the door open. But if you try, I think you're going to land the plane in Baltimore and you're going to have to answer some questions. But I want to go back to what Baba Ali was talking about. Where did that go? Just to making a point here. All of us, every one of us, is a human being. That means automatically we all have shortcomings. All of us make mistakes. All of us have sins. And all of us need every day to learn something new, to be able to grow. If we're not learning something new every day, then you're actually going backwards, because there's no such thing as status quo. Holding on to what you have, not gaining and not losing, doesn't work. You're either growing or the opposite. You're becoming more alive or more dead. And so this is why Muslims work hard every day to learn more, to learn more, to learn more. And that's what I want to do, and that's what we like to share as well. Whenever our youth are studying the Quran, one of the things that we like to do is be sure they know the meaning. As you know the meaning of the Quran, then nobody's going to be able to play with you. As long as you leave it in Arabic without understanding, then a lot of people can tell you it said something it didn't really say. I'll give you only an example of a couple of words. The words that I generally talk about, I'm going to leave alone tonight and just talk about these words, because I find that this is a problem for our youth today. They're hearing us elders saying some mistakes. We're saying some mistakes. When we tell Muslims or non-Muslims that you cannot have Jews or Christians as friends. Have you heard that before? Don't take them as your friends. Have you heard that? That's a very bad translation. Do not take the Jews and Christians as your friends, is what it says. These are, a lot of translations say that. But yet in the same in the very same book, which is Quran. I would like to share with you a verse, and then we'll talk about this word friends. There's a verse in the Quran, in Surah Al-Imran, chapter 3 of the Quran. It says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Kuntum khayra ummatin, ukhrijat lin-nasi, ta'muruna bil ma'ruf wa tanhauna 'anil munkar wa tu'minuna billah. How many of you know that? You know it? How many of you know that's only half of the verse? That's half of the verse. How many know that? Put your hand up if you know that. 1, 2, 3. Sisters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half the verse. How many of you know the other half of the verse? Wallahu amana ahlul kitabi lakhana khayrahum minhum mu'minun wa aktharuhum fasiqun. The first, now let's go to the translation. First part of it says, you are the best of nations raised up. You are the best of nations raised up because, I'm inserting a because there because it's a better way to understand it. You're the best of nations raised up if or because you call to al-ma'ruf and you forbid al-munkar wa tu'minuna billah and you believe in Allah. When we asked the Sheikh, why is the belief in Allah after these other two deeds? He said, how did you translate Maruf and Munkar? We said, good and bad. You called it good, you forbid evil. He said, no. Listen carefully. It's stronger than that. You're calling to the ultimate good, which is don't worship any other God with God. La ilaha illallah. The haqq la ilaha illallah. And you're forbidding the evil which will result if people go away from La ilaha illallah. If all of the people give up on religion, you'll have chaos. You'll have anarchy. You'll have destruction everywhere in your society. There has to be core belief in a God. Otherwise, you got nothing. You got people worse than animals. Where's the morality if you don't have an anchor to start with? So this is the Sheikh explaining Maruf and Munkar. You're calling to the ultimate good, which is God. Forbidding what takes people away from God. And you believe in God. And how could you say you believe in God if you're not willing to call to Him? I was like, wow. But now let's read the rest of it. Wallahu. And if the people of the book, who are the people of the book? Who are the people of the book? Jews and Christians. If the Jews and Christians, people of the book, Al-Kisai, had believed this way, believed in this, it would be better for them. But then look at this. Minhum. What does minhum mean? From them. Is that past tense or present tense? Present tense. Minhum. Today. Now. In this century. Today. Now. Minhum, from them, mu'minin. From them are true believers. From them are true believers. Wa aktharuhum fasiqun. But most of them are fasiq. What is fasiq? Corrupted disobedience. Corrupted disobedience. And this is exactly what we find. And when I showed this passage of Quran to one of my preacher friends, you know what he said?